Hey, did you know that only 53% of Americans admit that they have no money for an emergency fund? I mean, that's 175 million people. That's freaking insane. We're gonna unpack the essential strategies to safeguard your finances during a recession. We're gonna cover everything from setting up an emergency fund to diversifying your income streams and to leveraging the infinite banking concepts to help prepare you. But before I dive in, I wanna make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. So the very first thing you need to do is set up your E fund. E stands for emergency fund. You're gonna need this because remember I said 53% of the people out there won't admit that they have no money saved for an emergency. So that can't be you. How much do you need to save? 3 to 6 months of your gross income. So if your gross income's 5 grand, well then 15,000 is the minimum. So here's the best way to do it. And I take this from a book called Profit First. Go to a bank and open up a brand new bank account. I don't care if it's a checking account. And then from the account where your income goes, I want you to transfer money every single week. You pick the amount, 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever you can save every single week. And then have it transferred to this brand new account. In no time, what you'll find is your E fund will be funded and you'll have 3 to 6 months of income in there. So the next thing is really easy. You're gonna create a budget or you're gonna review your budget. And what you're gonna find is non-essential expenses that you can eliminate and reprioritize where that money goes, or what I like to say, recycle and recapture that money. So when you're looking at your budget, I want you to look at different things that you don't need. For example, Netflix, Amazon Prime, workout. What I want you to do is I want you to cut them right out of your budget. But see, don't just stop there. Once you cut them out of your budget, I want you to create a bank account, a separate bank account, just like we did before, where that money can be recycled and recaptured. So now what you were spending on Netflix now goes in this new bank account. And I want you to continue to keep doing that. One by one, food prep, Prime, Hulu. Then I want you to get rid of some of the Uber expenses that you're doing. And maybe it's Amazon and those groceries that are being delivered. You're gonna cut the fat. And as you cut the fat, what you're gonna do is you're gonna recapture that money into that newly created account. And what's gonna happen is all of a sudden, you're gonna build wealth through your own debts and expenses. So the next thing you're gonna do is we're gonna diversify your income streams. The reason this is important is because during a recession, chances are a lot of people are gonna lose one of their income streams. And if you only have one income stream like this, it's game over. You're out of money. So what we wanna do is we wanna find different sources of income and we wanna start diversifying. So a little bit's coming in from this bucket. Maybe it's a side job, or maybe you invest money into something that provides an income and that money is now coming in. Or maybe you start up a business as a side hustle and some of the income goes into there. Now what happens is when one of the income streams gets taken away because of a recession, you still have income coming in. And then maybe this one starts making more money. So it starts replenishing what you lost before. And then all you do is you start taking some of the money from one income source and you start building another income source, like an investment income source. Then that income source creates more income and you then start diversifying that into your business venture and you increase your marketing, which increases your income. You see, now it doesn't matter if one of them goes away because the other ones are supporting what you lost. So the next thing we're gonna talk about to really bulletproof yourself from a recession is investing in yourself, enhancing your job security. So how do you do that? Well, you get to be better than everybody else. It's that simple. You do what everybody else is unwilling to do. A lot of that comes from just educating yourself. Maybe you start reading more books like Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. You learn some new traits, some things that you can apply in your life that make you a better employee, or maybe it makes you a better business owner. You see, all of this comes down to making a better you. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they go to work and they do the bare minimum. And then they start complaining when they don't get a raise or they don't get a bonus. But yet all they did when they went to work is the bare minimum. They were just trying to pass time and get to 5 o'clock so they can punch out. That is not gonna get you any further in life. Let me give you an example. I'm gonna talk about a story of two garbage men. Think about two garbage men. That's a crappy job, right? But even let's make it worse. These garbage men are the ones that work the conveyor belt that all the garbage is dumped on. And each of these two employees are the same age, they make the same amount of money, but they show up with different mental attitudes. You see, one of them shows up hating his job every day. He's late every single day. He extends his lunch. He's complaining throughout the day. He's doing his job, and then, a dirty, poopy diaper comes along and he puts his hand on it. He's like, oh, this sucks. I hate this job. And everything is negative. And when he goes home, he takes that negativity home to his family. And he's always grouchy there, saying how much he hates his job. And if I were to ask this individual, why do you go to work every day? His answer is more than likely going to be, because I have to. I have bills to pay. Now let's flip over to the other gentleman who works the same line, the same pay, the same hours. Nothing's different. He comes to work excited. He comes to work and does his job. He's whistling, he's excited, he's not trying to pass the time. He reaches and grabs that dirty diaper. He says, oh, somebody accidentally put that in the wrong thing, throws it out, brushes it off. And then he goes home and he's got a happy attitude. You see, he shows up to work with a completely different mindset. But you see, if we look at the future of these two employees, one of those employees quits or gets fired and is constantly job hopping, constantly being miserable, never excelling, never making more money, always upset, thinking the world's against him. The other person that shows up with a positive attitude becomes the CEO of that garbage company and is the one that's running the show. What was the difference between those two garbage men? Mental attitude. Sometimes it's that simple. But a lot of times you got to put the hard work in, because mental attitude comes with educating yourself, reading books, listening to podcasts, getting around the right people that are positive. Are you doing that? Are you accelerating in what you do by doing what everybody else is unwilling to do? Are you just complaining your way through each day, wondering when someone's going to give you a lucky break? Folks, there is no luck. Luck follows opportunity. You create your own opportunity. Speaking of community and job security and all these great things, right now, let's provide some job security by liking and subscribing this channel. Whose job security? Mine. I'm putting this content out for free, and all I need from you is a like and a subscribe. That's what we got to do. The next step is we got to eliminate your high interest debt, those credit cards, those lines of credit. Heck, probably all your debts for that matter, because most of them have probably gone up when interest rates went up. This is eroding your wealth, and this is going to make it so you can never get any further. So let's make this fun. I'm going to show you how to build wealth through your own debts and expenses, and that's where we're going to start. So we're going to look at all your debts, but we're going to put them in a specific order from the lowest balance to the highest balance. I don't want you to look at the interest rate, just lowest balance to highest balance. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start using some of the other tactics that I gave you, and we're gonna use some of the funds from them to pay off that lowest balance. Or you're just gonna take your income and you're gonna pay down that low balance. Now, when the lowest balance is done, what it's gonna do is it's gonna free up some money. Because before you were giving money away to somebody else's bank, right? You were paying Visa, MasterCard, Amazon. Someone was getting your money, and that money was associated to an interest rate, usually a really high one. So once you pay that lowest balance off, whatever money you were giving to that creditor, I want you to take that money and I want you to put that money in one of those buckets, okay? One of those extra accounts like this. Now, what you started to do is you started to build wealth using your debts and expenses that you're paying down. And as you pay one debt down, the lowest one, you're gonna move to the next one. And you're gonna use your earned income to pay it down. But now what you're also gonna do is you're gonna reach back into that jar where you were putting that money from the first one, and that's gonna escalate your ability to pay off more debt. And as you pay the next debt off, now all of a sudden, it's not just a little bit, it's a little bit more. And then as you start building that up, you move to the next one and the next one. And eventually, this bucket starts getting really full. And then all this money, when you're done, is now income that you can use to save. You see, what I just showed you how to do is something that's been around for a long time. It's how to recycle and recapture the money you're giving away. But you have to be diligent, consistent, and persistent in your actions here, because if you get off track, you're gonna be right back where you started. So start now, put those debts in order from lowest to highest, and hit the begin button. Next, we're going to talk about you being your own bank. I'm Albert Einstein, and I invented compound interest. Actually, I didn't invent it, but I absolutely believe in it. I believe it is the eighth wonder of the world, the most powerful thing in the financial environment. Those who understand it, me, earn it. Those that don't, some of you, pay it, preferably to me. But I want you to change that around. I want you to then pay it to yourself. Because uninterrupted compound interest can happen when you become your own bank and you change where your money goes first. You see, right now you put your money in somebody else's bank. Shame on you. You need to change where that money goes and put it into your own bank, which is a specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policy. Now stop with your nonsense. Whole life is the only vehicle we can use to earn uninterrupted compound interest. You see, I put the money in the whole life, and then what I do is I take a loan from my whole life, and I then take that money and make it go to work for me a second time. But the whole time, I earn uninterrupted compound interest because someone else pays me. Those who understand it, earn it. Those that don't, pay it. It's time for you to become your own bank, and now is a great time to start. I'm Albert Einstein, and I endorse this message. But being more serious, you becoming your own bank is what you need to do. And it's simple. By changing just one thing where your money goes first, and then applying the infinite banking concepts, you'll change everything. Because you'll start doing what banks do every day. And your money will work for you for the rest of your life. So why would you ever wait for that? Is it because somebody told you about whole life being a bad thing? They're not talking about using it for the infinite banking concepts, but I am, and you need to do this. The other thing we got to talk about is maintaining a long-term perspective. So what do I mean by that? Time. Time is on your side. But if you're in a rush to build wealth, if you're in a rush to get rich, the opposite is going to happen because money and wealth takes time. And you got to be logical with yourself, and you actually have to think in the proper way. See, when you're doing this, when you're building your wealth, you need to look at it in the sense of there is no get rich quick. You know, it's one of the laws of wealth. Be realistic and never get greedy. See, greed is when somebody wants to get rich tomorrow. They want to take high risks because they think there's a massive payoff. How did that work out for all the people that were investing in crypto? Not so well. Because greed got the best of them, and then what they did is they get it caught up in FOMO and they start chasing the winners only because they think those are the ones that are going to make them rich, which the opposite happened. Everything fell apart, and those rich desires became poor realizations. Now, maybe that wasn't you, but it will be if you keep trying to get rich quick. The other thing that comes along with building wealth the right way, because it takes time, you have to avoid the temptations. People are going to tell you that you need that new outfit, you need that new car, you need that or this or whatever it is because you have the money to buy it. But resist the temptation. Because if you just listen to everybody else, they're going to have you spending every penny and even more. You're going to rack up the credit card and you're going to be caught in a place you don't want to be. And that is living paycheck to paycheck. Doesn't sound good, does it? Well, you can avoid that. Time is all you need. I'm going to finish up with this. Another thing you're going to need to do to be successful is get around the right people. You're going to need to seek mentors, and you're going to need the guidance of people who have been where you want to be. Let me just tell you a story. It feels like a long time ago, but it was less than 10 years ago. I was in a really bad place. I didn't have any money. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was miserable because I just could not seem to break through. I spent $5,000 to go to a mastermind, and that mastermind was one that I really couldn't afford. And I remember my girlfriend at that time said, "You have to go." I remember being at this mastermind, thinking I don't belong, looking at all these other people, which in my mind I thought they were the greats. They were multimillionaires, and here I am. I have no place here. I went to the owner and the person who put the mastermind on, and I said to him, his name was Greg, I said, "Greg, I need your help. What is the best advice you can give someone like me?" And he leans into me, puts his hand on my shoulders, and very calmly says, "You need to give your best stuff away for free." Now, at that time, that isn't the advice I needed, but it was the best advice he could give me because I have done that. This video is a representation of that. I give my best stuff away. My mentor, Greg, told me that. And I ended up working with him and so many other mentors. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars getting coaches and getting mentored by people that were in the places where I wanted to be. When I got to the place where they were no longer a good coach, so I moved up. I elevated up. You see, I'll never arrive, and you should never arrive either. You always have to be seeking the next level. People often will ask you, when's enough enough? And the answer is never. You can never ever put enough away for other people. You can never ever have enough because there's always more people that you can help. You want to be successful? Apply all these principles, but also go one step further. Apply the principle of giving. Because when you give, that's the ultimate. Everything you do should be to benefit somebody else. You should solve other people's problems. And if you just do that, your problems will take care of themselves. So tying this all into the recession that's coming, or some would say that we're in, the act of giving is single-handedly the most important part. But when you think of giving, you actually think of giving money, don't you? Now that's a piece of it. But what about just giving love? What about just going to somebody that needs a hug and hugging them? What about just going up to somebody and giving them some kind words? Helping an old woman cross the street, helping an old woman get her groceries. That's giving, isn't it? But it didn't take money. It took your time. Your time is the most valuable asset you have. So during this recession, you're gonna have one of the biggest opportunities you're ever gonna be presented in your life. And that opportunity is gonna be to serve others because there's gonna be a lot more people that need help. And that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna solve other people's problems. And if you do just that one thing, the rest of it will take care of itself. But again, it's gonna take time. But you gotta give first and get later. I hope this was helpful. If you liked this video, then like and subscribe it right there on that button, click it. And then also, while you're at it, hit the little alerts button up top. Smash that alerts button so that you're notified every time I put a new video out. That is also giving, because that's giving me your gratitude for creating these videos day in and day out. How are you preparing for the recession? Comment below. Hey, if you liked this video, check this one out. The mindset that will get you through the next banking crisis. It's a good one. Enjoy.